up. I miss my friends, but at the end of the day, I'm not about to sit up here and beg somebody to with me. Hey, it's Bri, and this is what has been going on in my life lately. If you've been here before, thanks for stopping by. And if you're new here, go ahead and click that red button and subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell for notifications, because I know after this little chit chat, you guys are gonna want to see Bri all the time, every time I upload. So in today's video, you guys will be smoking with me while I sip my tea, because there's a lot that I feel like I need to get off my chest. I'm tired of hiding from you guys at this point. So let's lay it all out on the table. I'm gonna light my blunt and we're gonna get straight into this video. Unfortunately, I am not one of the YouTube divas that can just keep the ball rolling, that can go on with the show. If something affects me or triggers me mentally and emotionally, I am going to disappear. I have been trying to work on that because I notice I'll take a step back from my channel for my mental health, and then when I start to see my money going down, I get even more depressed. And so that's why I decided we're just gonna talk about this, because I refuse to be frozen in time. I need to move on. So let's talk about it. I already addressed this on a live stream the day that it happened, and then I woke up the next day and I went live again. I addressed the situation again when I was sober, because when I went live the first time, I was fresh out of the situation. I was all in my feelings, okay? So I'm just gonna recap what happened in case you guys did not see those live streams, because I did go ahead and delete them, and then I'm gonna catch you guys up on how I made peace with the situation. So basically, I knew that I was gonna be working on Halloween because I work on Thursdays. I also knew that I was not going to be willing to call out for any Halloween party. Like, I knew that there was not gonna be any party that was worth calling out of work. So I told my friend I wanted to go to Not Scary Farm. Like, I knew I wasn't gonna be able to dress up, but I still wanted to celebrate Halloween in my own way. Okay, so I'm low-key faded. I wanna start using fake names, even though you guys can literally go watch my old vlogs and you will see me hanging out with this bitch. So I don't see the point in using a fake name, but I don't want to keep saying my friend, because there's another friend that's important to the story as well. So I feel like it just makes sense to give everybody a fake name. So we're gonna call my homegirl Stacy, and we're gonna call my homeboy Daryl. Hopefully I will be able to remember those names as I continue to smoke throughout this video. So like I said, I brought up going to Not Scary Farm, but I wasn't really serious about it. I wasn't saving any money. I wasn't doing any research to see how much the tickets cost. I just said I wanted to go. And Stacy was like, let's make it happen. She kept bringing it up over and over again. And I was like, damn, like, she really wants to go. Okay, I'm gonna put some money aside. So Stacy and I started doing research. And when we were in the process of deciding what day we should go, that's when Stacy reached out to Daryl and asked Daryl if he wanted to come with us to Knott's. Now, Stacy, Daryl, and I hung out so much. I used to call our friend group Destiny's Child, because it was always the three of us. Now, in case anybody is wondering, I met Stacy at the beginning of the year in January when I started going back to school. So that's how I even know Stacy. And then obviously I met Daryl through Stacy, because at one point Stacy and Daryl were co-workers. So that's how we all knew each other. I met this girl in January, like I said, but we did not really start hanging out until March, because that's when I got my job. And that was also around the time that I was living with two older ladies, and I found out that I needed to move. I only had 2 weeks to find out where I was gonna live. I didn't know where the hell I was gonna go. I was stressed out, so I never wanted to be home. I never wanted to be home because I felt like I didn't really belong there anyway. And I feel like all of this is important for me to say, because during this time in my life, when I would talk to my big sister about Stacy, I would refer to Stacy as my friend. And my big sister kept saying, you don't even know this girl. You literally just met her 2 or 3 months ago. That is not your friend. My sister will really piss me off when she would say that shit, because I'm not about to sit up here and be like, my acquaintance, my classmate, my associate. Like, it just seemed easier to refer to Stacy as my friend. And now that I look back, obviously I understand what my sister was talking about, because lately I have been watching a lot of Now That's TV, and when these girls get into arguments, that's something that they bring up. Like, you don't even know this girl, you just became friends with her 2 months ago, 3 months ago, y'all not friends for real, that's not your friend. And because of this situation, I definitely feel like that was a learning experience for me. Like, moving forward, I don't care if you think that you're my best fucking friend, I'm not calling you my friend until you show me for real that you're my friend, bitch. I need you guys to follow me, because I know I started off the video telling you guys about knots, and now I'm giving you guys like backstory on the timeline of our friendship. But I promise you it's all gonna tie together and it's gonna make 100% sense, because I always make sense. There definitely was a point throughout my friendship with Stacy that I started to think to myself, damn, maybe I should not be friends with this girl, because she was always going through something. If she wasn't going through domestic violence, she was complaining about her job. I noticed that she would complain about her job a lot. And it really used to confuse me, because we would go to her job very often. Every time we went to her job, it was like she loved it there. So I started to get tired of her talking about her job, because I'm like, bitch, you love your job. Like, when I go to work, I get my money, and I come home. You don't see me posting my coworkers on my story, going out to eat, going to them for services and stuff like that. This girl would talk all of this mess about her job, but when you would watch her story, her main story and her close friends, it was nothing but her coworkers, laughing with her coworkers, taking shots with her coworkers. I just thought that that was weird. I started to pay attention to that, and then her boyfriend was terrorizing her, okay? And it got to the point that she felt like she needed to press charges and basically send him to jail. So as I talk to you guys right now, her boyfriend is in jail because he was beating her up. I'm not trying to be messy. I'm telling you guys this because all of this is like very important. It's all gonna make sense later, I promise you. I don't really want to go too much into detail because I really don't like when people stop being friends and then there's like this one person that decides they're gonna tell all their friends' business because they're not friends anymore. Like, I actually despise those kind of people because I'm like, bitch, you was never her friend if you quick to tell her business. I wouldn't want that bitch to get on the internet telling my business. So I'm just going to say I wasn't even friends with her for a long time, and I started to notice being friends with Stacy was overwhelming. Like, I started to feel like Stacy was starting to drain me because we were having the same conversations over and over and over. And it's like, you're not gonna break up with your boyfriend, number one, and you're not gonna quit your job, number two. So at this point, I feel like I need to avoid you. And there was a time in our friendship where I really didn't know if I wanted to cut Stacy off or not, because some of the stuff that she was telling me, it didn't even make sense. Like, some of the shit that she was getting into was like, are you slow? And I noticed that as a result of that, I started avoiding her. I started like spending less time with her for a minute because I was like, I don't want this energy to rub off on me. And at a certain point, I did feel like it was rubbing off on me. I did. Like, she would call me and tell me some crazy ass out of pocket shit. And then I would be sitting in the house thinking like, what the fuck is wrong with my friend? And then I would wake up the next day and go to work and I'm getting in trouble at work. It would be nothing major, but it would be like little stupid shit that I noticed would manifest in my life after giving this girl time and energy and listening to all her sob stories and stuff like that. Now, I want to make it very clear. I am not telling you guys anything that I have never told Stacy to her face. I remember one time we went to Daryl's job, and Daryl works at like a sports bar, and we were having drinks, taking shots and stuff like that, and I told Stacy to her face, girl, I was thinking about cutting you off. And I told Stacy this after her car got broken into. I'm trying to tell you, like, this girl had the worst fucking luck, and I had to ask her, like, straight up, is somebody doing witchcraft on you, bitch? It seems like you're going through a series of unfortunate events. I'm literally not joking, and I'm not being dramatic. I was scared. I'm like, this energy is going to rub off on me. But let me tell you something. I decided to tell Stacy to her face that I was feeling that way because I had to humble myself. I decided to continue being Stacy's friend because I remember when I was the friend that was going through a series of unfortunate events. And I remember how everybody cut me off when I needed a friend the most. So I really had to humble myself, and I had to remind myself where I came from, that I know what it feels like when life starts lifing. I remember what it felt like when everybody turned their back on me. And so because I know what that feels like, I'm not about to do that to you. I distinctly remember having that conversation because I couldn't be fake. Because you guys gotta understand, especially if you're a loner or if you deal with like depression, anxiety, or anything like that, it gets to a point where you actually are comfortable with your own company. I'm okay being by myself. I'm used to being by myself. I definitely want to word this carefully because I don't want to make it seem like Stacy was just this desperate girl who wanted to be my friend so bad, because that's not the truth. But what I will say is Stacy was intentional in building a friendship with me. She was always inviting me out, even though I didn't have a car. And I feel like that's how we really started kicking it anyway, because it got to the point where she was like, girl, I will come get you. And Stacy definitely 100% was a good friend, and we're gonna talk about that because I'm definitely not making this video to bash her. Clearly, losing her as a friend has affected me emotionally to where I'm still sitting up here talking about it. So I'm not about to sit up here and make it seem like Stacy was just this desperate ass bitch who wanted to be my friend. I'm not about to lie on a girl because I'm not friends with her no more. One thing I notice about myself, I move too fast in relationships, whether it be romantically or platonically. I move very, very quickly, and then when it's all said and done, that's when I come to the realization like, oh, that was not my friend, or oh, they didn't really like me like that. I don't know why I'm like that. Maybe I'm clingy. That could definitely be a possibility. Like, I could be a clingy ass bitch. So I definitely do want to take accountability for just thinking that everybody is my friend, or just assuming that I matter to people more than I actually do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I put myself on a pedestal and I value myself to a certain extent. I do feel like I respect myself, so I feel like other people are gonna give me that in return, and a lot of times I don't get that in return. And that's what we're gonna talk about. The whole thing about Knott's Scary Farm, right? Remember, I brought it up, but I wasn't really serious about going. Stacy was the one that was like, we're going 100%. I'm gonna tell Daryl, this is how much the tickets cost, blah, blah, blah. When she told me that she was gonna invite Daryl, I'm not gonna lie, I was confused because I know that he doesn't even like roller coasters, because we talked about it when I first brought up going to Knott's Scary Farm. So when she told me that he was gonna come with us, I was confused, you know what I'm saying? And I was a little worried because I'm like, I've never been to Knott's Scary Farm and I don't want him to ruin my time, which low-key did happen, but I'm gonna get there. We finally decide what day we're gonna go to Knott's. At the time, I did not know that I was gonna have to call out of work. I thought that we were gonna leave the park by 11. So I agreed to go to Knott's on a day that I had work. As it got closer to the date that we agreed to, I noticed that Stacy was talking about Knott's significantly less. So I just thought, okay, she doesn't want to go anymore. And I didn't care either way because I needed to get my hair done. Halloween is around the time that rent is due, so I needed to start getting my money together. So if she didn't want to go to Knott's, I mean, it was no big deal, you know what I'm saying? Especially because I knew that I wasn't really gonna do anything for Halloween anyway. And then out the blue, Stacy texts me and she's like, so when are you gonna send me the money for Knots? And I was like, girl, I already asked you to go ahead and buy the ticket and then I will pay you back, because it was just a lot going on for me. You know, I had to pay my phone bill, I had to book my appointment, like it was like a lot going on, and I really was trying to stay on top of my finances. So we had already had that conversation, make a long story short. And so I was confused when she was texting me asking me for money, but I had already got my YouTube check. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna send you the money right now. So I sent her the money at like 6 in the morning. Now it's important that you guys know I sent her the money at 6 in the morning after she completely stopped communicating about even going to Knots. She randomly texted me like, so what's up? Are you gonna send me the money? As if we didn't already have that conversation. In my mind, she was already acting kind of weird, but that's my friend. So I'm not about to make a big deal out of it. And I feel like anybody watching this video, you would not have made a big deal about that either. Because like I said, I already had a lot going on. I was doing hella overtime at work because I knew I had bills to pay. On top of the fact, I was trying to stay consistent on my channel. So I was vlogging a lot, editing a lot, trying to get to work on time. Like I wasn't really tripping if Stacy did not talk to me for 3 or 4 days. I really like, we're grown. However, after I got my hair done and I had to Uber all over Los Angeles, I started looking at my bank account. And I was like, why hasn't Stacy updated me about the ticket? Why hasn't Stacy sent me the ticket to Knots? So I got my hair done on Monday. I did not have to go back to work until Wednesday night. I told you guys, I sent Stacy the money to buy the tickets at 6 in the morning, the day I got my hair done, which was Monday. So I distinctly remember it was like Thursday morning, because I take my first break at 1 in the morning. And I was talking to my big sister and I was like, Stacy's acting weird. It doesn't take that long to buy a ticket. It's already Thursday at this point. I don't even have a ticket. Are we even going? And I was just venting to my sister because I thought that shit was weird. My sister was like, oh, you're better than me, because when I send somebody money, I blow them up. I would have been blowing her up every other hour after I sent her that money. Like I would have got my ticket the same day. When she told me that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna text Stacy. So I sent Stacy like a dry ass text because we had not communicated since I got my hair done on Monday. And it wasn't like she wasn't watching my stories on Instagram and stuff like that. So I knew we wasn't beefing. I just thought the whole situation was weird. So I texted her and I was like, are we still going to Knots? And she texted me back with the ticket. And I was like, did I do something to her? Like, is she okay? I didn't know if she was going through something or not. So if she was going through something at work or at home, I wasn't trying to, you know, create an issue or create a problem if there was no problem. Like, I wasn't trying to make her life harder than it needed to be by bringing up some drama. And that's why I was talking about it with my big sister in the first place, because I was not trying to be messy. I'm gonna be very honest with you. Like, I was not trying to start no problems with Stacy. I actually enjoyed her as a friend, but I just started to realize that she was acting out of character and I did not know how to address it. So when she texted me back and all she sent was the ticket, I was like, okay, it's time for me to check her temperature. And so I told her, I was like, oh my God, I'm super excited. We're gonna have so much fun. And then I told her, I was like, I think I'm gonna get a bottle of Hennessy. I either said, I think I'm gonna get some Hennessy, or I feel like drinking Hennessy. She texted me back and she was like, I'm not drinking. And when I read that dry ass text, I was like, I said, Brianna, want to drink some Hennessy. I want Hennessy. It ain't got nothing to do with you. It was at that moment that I felt like, oh, okay, it's gonna be very weird when we go to Knots, because she was not matching my energy. Like, usually she doesn't act like that. I'm faded, to be honest with you, so I really don't feel like going into every single detail of how I knew that Stacy was acting weird, but she was, bro. The fucked up part is I never even got the opportunity to have this conversation with her. Like, I have to talk about this on YouTube because the way that we fell out is like, she don't even want to talk to me no more. Like I said, I got my ticket at 1 in the morning on Thursday, and prior to that I wasn't really talking to Stacy. Like, there was no back and forth communication. How's your day? When are we going to the gym? It was none of that. So in my heart, I already kind of felt some type of way. And I remember telling my coworker, like, I don't know if I should get a bottle because Stacy's acting weird. I know that Stacy was on this like self-discipline journey. She started going to the gym more. She was waking up early to make sure that she made it to class on time. Like, she was really getting serious about her goals. And because I believe I'm a good friend, I tried to take all of that into consideration. But that morning when she sent me the ticket, when she started being dry and stuff like that, I couldn't help but take it personally. And I felt like I already knew going into the situation that I probably should not be drinking. I definitely had a strong feeling we're probably gonna start beefing for real. Like I said, I'm used to being alone. I've grown to enjoy my own company. And so the way that Stacy was acting was like, bitch, we don't even have to go to Knott's. Like, I'm really not that pressed. So when I got off work that day, immediately I went to sleep because I knew that I was gonna have a busy day. I knew that I was gonna be vlogging my experience at Not Scary Farm because, like I said, I had never been there before. So that was something that I definitely wanted to document on my channel. I did not wake up until like 12:31 in the afternoon, and when I checked my phone, Stacy and Daryl were already in the group chat discussing when we were gonna meet. That's when I realized that Not Scary Farm doesn't even start until 6 p.m. At that point, I knew that I was gonna have to call out of work. I felt some kind of way about that because I really wanted to get out of there in time to get to work. Like, I really did not want to call out of work. And to be honest, the check that I'm about to get this week, yeah, I definitely was affected from calling out to go to Knott's. I will not be calling out moving forward on any day that I am scheduled to work. If you want to have fun, bitch, it better be on one of my days off. But like I said, I woke up around like 1 in the afternoon. I remember I went to the store. I had to get stuff to make breakfast. When I saw how much the alcohol cost, I went back to my house to get my ID, and then I went back to pick up the alcohol, and I got 2 Red Bulls. I did not want to get turned down. Like, I wanted to have a good night, especially considering I was gonna call out of work. Like, baby, we're gonna be at Knott's until they close. Like, we about to have a good time, period. And anybody that is watching this video that knows me in real life, I'm fun as fuck. If we about to be outside, bitch, we're about to have the time of our life. When you're with Bree, you're about to make some memories, okay? I'm not playing. I love to have fun. I love to go all out. That's another reason why I wanted to get the Hennessy, because I just wanted to have a good time. I wanted everybody to have the time of their life. And I already know that the drinks up there were hella expensive. I knew that Stacy didn't want to drink, but that doesn't mean that Daryl didn't want to drink. And to be honest with you, I did think that Stacy was still gonna take a shot or two. I didn't think she really wasn't gonna drink at all. You know what I'm saying? I shower, I get dressed. I was vlogging throughout the day. By the time they pulled up, I was dressed, but I didn't have any makeup on. So I brought all my makeup, my camera, and I decided to just do my makeup in the car because it was gonna take us 45 minutes to get to Knott's anyway, and that's more than enough time to do my face. I was vlogging the entire time. It's so funny because I did run out of memory at one point throughout the night, so obviously I did not vlog the whole explosion that ultimately ended our friendship, but I really do wish that I did because I just feel like I need to see that moment sober, and I need to see like how embarrassing that was, because I know for a fact I embarrassed myself. Like, to a certain extent, I understand why she doesn't want to be my friend anymore, and that's another reason why I'm making this video, because your girl been going through it, you know what I'm saying? When I got in the car, everything was cool. Me and Daryl were getting along like we usually do. Stacy, she let me sit in the front so I could finish my makeup. Well, so I could do my makeup, because I didn't have any makeup on when I got in the car. So yeah, me and Daryl were in the front. Stacy was in the back. Daryl was driving. Stacy was in the back DJing. And we were having a good time. I was a little nervous getting in the car because, like I said, I wasn't really talking to Stacy that much. This was my first time seeing her. But she told me, like, my work schedule is going crazy because of the Dodgers. I'm not going to be able to hang out until it's basically time for us to go to Knott's. I took all of this into consideration. I need you guys to know this. However, because of what I've gone through in the past, I was paying attention to the details. I don't know, I really did start to see a difference in my friend. So when I got in the car, I was trying to see if she was gonna act dry in person, because that's the energy that I was getting through the text. I didn't really feel like she was excited to go. I felt like she was just more focused on getting everything organized and getting to the theme park. And I was more focused on having the time of my life and being a big kid. But when I got in the car, she wasn't acting dry, you know what I'm saying? I was doing my makeup. There was some traffic. So by the time we got off the freeway, I had to pee really bad. On top of the fact we were hungry at this point. So it just made sense to go to In-N-Out Burger. I need you guys to know, I loved hanging out with Stacy and Daryl. I told you guys, I referred to our friend group as Destiny's Child. And I thought that we were Destiny's Child for a reason. It was just always a good time hanging out with them. And I felt like that's why we hung out with each other so much, because it was always a vibe. It got to the point we even hung out with each other individually. Like, if Stacy was at work, I would hang out with Daryl by myself and we would smoke together. And I felt like that's another reason why this whole situation just really broke my heart, because I didn't lose one friend, I lost two. I'm tired of losing people. It gets to the point where I have to look in the mirror and I have to take accountability, and that's why I'm sitting here making this video. Like, this is me taking accountability, because I need to get this off my chest and I need to move forward. And in order to do that, I need to be honest. Like, I fucked up, I miss my friends, but at the end of the day, I'm not about to sit up here and beg somebody to fuck with me. Even though my feelings are hurt, I'm grown enough to respect their decision to not fuck with me anymore. You know what I'm saying? So when we got to Knott's, we ended up making friends with a girl that actually was working at Knott's. I don't remember if she was just working there in general or if she was one of the actors, like if she was actually a part of the mazes or not, but she worked at Knott's, okay? We started talking to her. I don't even remember how, but we started talking to her. She kind of became our tour guide, and she elevated our experience at Knott's because she knew all the shortcuts. She knew all the popular mazes to go to because she worked there. This is where the story starts to get a little shaky. Before we got to Knott's, I was drinking. So by the time we got to Knott's, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say I was like a 6 or a 7. When we first got there and we linked up with this random girl, it was so much fun. Like, the actors were running up to me. They were scaring me. I literally felt like a big kid when we first got there. I was holding on to my friends for dear life. I was running from the actors. It was really, really fun. I was talking to them. It was fun. Like, I was having so much fun. I'm just so sad that I crashed out the way that I fucking did, y'all. Because I know I looked bipolar as hell. I know I did. Like, we were at the theme park for 3 hours. I'm not joking with you guys. We were at the theme park for 3 fucking hours because by the time I got home, I was so livid. I was angry out of my mind because I'm like, bitch, I could have just went to work, but I was so enraged. I was so in my feelings that I had to just stand on business. I already called out. I already lied and said that I had to go to urgent care or something like that. I would have looked ridiculous going to work anyway. But I called out of work because I'm thinking, okay, Not Scary Farm doesn't close until 1:30. We finna be up here all night. Because that's what Stacy said. Stacy said, I need to go ahead and call out because they want to be up there all night. I was not going to call out. I literally was going to go to work late. I need you guys to understand that. Like, I did not think that we were going to be at the park that long. And I was right. I was right. Now, one thing I will say is, if I felt like I was going to go to work, I should not have been drinking the way that I was drinking. I will say that. I feel like part of the reason that I crashed out and I reacted the way that I did is because I literally called out of work. And now we're at the park and y'all acting like y'all not having fun and y'all want to leave. So let me tell you, like I said, we were at the park for 3 hours. During those 3 hours, we probably went through like 6 different mazes. When we went through like the first 3 mazes, Daryl, who don't even want to get on no roller coasters, mind you, he's scared of roller coasters. He started talking about, this isn't even scary. I'm not even scared. What is this? I'm lit and I'm trying to be a big kid. But in the back of my head, I hear Daryl downplaying the whole experience, talking about how he's not even scared. If you're not scared, you're not having fun, right? I ignored that shit the first 3 mazes. And then after a while, that energy started to rub off on me. Like, after a while, I was just over it. And I was drinking when we were at the park. When we were at the park, I had 2 drinks. The first drink that I had, I think it's called a mango cart. And then later, before I ultimately crashed out, I got a Long Island iced tea. And to be honest, that drink is when I blacked out. I've been thinking about it and I actually blacked out, bitch. I was feeling some type of way because Daryl kept complaining, bro. I remember after I got that Long Island iced tea, I was like, we're gonna get on rides because y'all not having fun. I'm ready to get on the rides. And let me tell y'all this. Why did Daryl and Stacy lie to me and tell me that the ticket that we bought was only for the mazes? And that did not make no sense to me at all, because when we got inside the park, we were inside the park. So how would they know if my ticket is just for the mazes or just for the rides if I'm already in the park? You get what I'm saying? Like, that did not make no sense to me. And to be honest, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together until we were actually at the park. Like, after I had that Long Island iced tea, I was like, we're getting on rides. Now, let me tell you this. When I bought the drink, we were sitting in like this picnic area and everybody else was like eating food and having drinks and stuff like that. Stacy's boyfriend called her from jail. This is important because throughout the ride to Knott's, her boyfriend had been calling her. Like, her boyfriend called her like 3 times when we were on the way to Knott's. Nobody cares because everybody knows that Stacy misses her man. Everybody knows that. Even though she's the reason that he's in jail, that was like her ride or die. That was her confidant. It's okay for her to miss her man. I'm not about to sit up here and act like she's stupid because she missed her boyfriend. I noticed after I got my drink and we were sitting down, I was sharing my drink with Daryl. The girl that we met that worked at Knott's, she started drawing. She was showing me her art book and stuff like that. Stacy took the phone call and she walked away. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was so in the moment. I don't know if her energy shifted or not. But what I do know is Stacy started complaining too. Stacy started complaining, talking about she wanted to go home. In my drunk ass brain, I'm thinking to myself, oh, she want to go home because she keep talking to that man that's in jail. And I got so mad because I'm like, he's locked up. You're gonna ruin our time because your boyfriend's not here and he's in jail and he cannot be at Knott's? Even though I was lit, as I sit here right now, I know for a fact I'm telling the truth. I don't remember what ride we were even gonna get on. I do remember we got on one ride. It was like the log ride. We were in line to get on a scarier ride. After the log ride, I was underwhelmed. And I was like, no, if we're gonna leave, I wanna get on a ride that's scary. Nobody said, let's leave. But bitches started talking about they tired, they want to go home. And then Daryl talking about he's bored, nothing is scary. What would you think if you was in that situation and you never been to Not Scary Farm in your life? What would you think? On top of the fact I called out of work. I'm like, okay, we're about to leave. I want to go out with a bang. I want to create a memory. What did I just tell you guys? I live for the memory. We were in line to get on a scarier ride, and the line was long. And I remember I was so pissed off because Stacy and Daryl were being turned down. They did not want to get on a ride with me at all. I remember I was begging Stacy to get on the ride, and she started acting like an auntie, like she was just too tired to get on the ride. And girl, I got so fucking mad, bro. You would have thought that I had my own show on Zeus Network the way that I crashed out in that line. And that's how I know that I blacked out, because when I was thinking about it the other day in the shower, I remember I looked to my left and I looked to my right, and I was so fucking mad, and I was trying to figure out why everybody was looking at me, and it's because I was being loud as fuck and I was cussing out my friends. Like, to be honest with you, I genuinely don't even remember half the shit that I said to Stacy. I don't remember what I said. I remember one sentence that I said, and it was very out of pocket, but when I was in the shower and I was thinking about it, I distinctly remember looking around and people were looking at me like, what the fuck? And another reason that I know that I blacked out is because one minute we was in line, and then the next minute we were not in line anymore. And I don't even know when that happened or why that happened. I don't know why we got out of line. And I remember that, like, I went and I sat by myself because I was so fucking mad. And then Daryl came up to me, and Daryl was trying to talk to me, and I was just like going in, like everything that I was holding inside. I started telling him, like, well, you're complaining, and now she talking about she's tired and she want to go home. Now that I'm sitting here talking to you guys, I do realize that I took that entire situation personally. I do realize that now that I'm sitting here right now. Like, just because Daryl wasn't scared, or just because, you know, Stacy was starting to get tired and she felt like going home, what did that have to do with me personally? You know what I'm saying? And I definitely did take it personally, because I'm like, I called out of work. I don't want to say that I felt sabotaged, but I just felt like I was with the wrong group of people, and I got mad as hell because I'm like, why did we come here? Even as I sit here right now, clearly I feel the same way, or I will switch the story up. I still feel the same way. I feel like, why did y'all make me call out of work? What was the point? And then y'all made me call out because y'all made it seem like we was gonna have so much fun. We was gonna be here all night. All we did was go through mazes. I just started getting on rides. You guys are exhausted. You're tired. You wanna go home. Daryl got frustrated with me. I remember Daryl was like yelling. He literally was yelling at me, and he never yelled at me before. And he was like, you're wrong, Brianna. And I was like, oh, I'm wrong? So I'm wrong? And he was like, yes, you are wrong. And at that moment, I detached completely. Like, I did not speak. When we was leaving the theme park, I did not say anything the entire ride home. I don't even know if I was up or not. I probably fucking fell asleep in the back seat for all I know. But I remember I kept that same energy from the theme park 45 minutes or an hour later back to my house, because I felt like at the end of the day, y'all boring as fuck. Like, I already admitted to you guys that I pretty much blacked out. Like, after I had that Long Island iced tea, I was way beyond my limit. I don't even remember certain parts of the night. I definitely don't remember what the fuck was coming out of my mouth, but I do remember I was screaming and hollering and I was mad as hell. That was my first time really crashing out on Stacy like that. That was not my first time drinking with Stacy. That was not my first time drinking with Daryl. That was not Daryl or Stacy's first time seeing me drunk, but that was their first time seeing me angry, like mad as hell. I knew Stacy was mad because Daryl was like, oh, do you guys want to go get tacos? And I was like, yeah. and Stacy was like, no, we're gonna take Bri home. And I knew that Stacy was over me, but I had to stand on business, you know what I'm saying, and act like I didn't give a fuck, because at the moment I really didn't give a fuck. So at that point I was just going through the motions. I'm like, oh, fuck me, okay, bet. They dropped me off at home. I went live on YouTube. I started crashing out on YouTube, talking about the situation. I definitely was in my feelings, because I pretty much knew that that was the end of my friendship with Stacy. I didn't want to admit that my feelings was hurt in that moment, but in real life I already knew leading up to going to Knott's that if I drank, that was probably going to be the end of our friendship. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. It's no way around it. Some of you guys may say it was my intuition. Some of you guys may say it was an inner knowing. I don't know what to call it, but I definitely had a feeling. I didn't think it was gonna be like we're never gonna talk to each other again. Actually, I did kind of feel that way. But like I said, that was not my first time drinking with Stacy. I'm not an angry drunk. You get what I'm saying? So if we were in a court of law, that would be my defense. Bitch, I've hung out with you before and I've never crashed out on you before. So I feel like I deserve a second chance just off that. I feel like a conversation deserves to be had if we really are friends. And it's like when I woke up the next day and I was sober and the shame and the embarrassment started to really kick in, I went on Instagram because I did want to have a conversation with Stacy. I realized that I was blocked, and then I went on my Finsta and I realized that she blocked me on every account that I will ever create. I was like, damn. At that point I felt like, okay, you was never my friend, so it's really fuck you too. Like, I definitely took it personal, especially because I have rocked with Stacy during some fucked up situations. Like, I know exactly why her boyfriend is in jail right now, and it makes sense why her boyfriend is in jail right now. He deserves to be in there right now. In my opinion, when she was going through that situation, even when she sounded dumb as hell, I still was her friend, because I know what it feels like to be in a toxic relationship. I know what it feels like to date somebody that's jealous. I know what it feels like to date somebody that doesn't want to see you happy. I definitely did feel some type of way that the first time I get angry or the first time I crash out, immediately I get blocked. After that happened, I was just going back and forth between fuck Stacy and I'm sorry Stacy. I didn't know how to feel, because I definitely did want to apologize, but when I saw that I was blocked, I felt rejected. I felt like she was never a real friend, so it's fuck her. I just went into defense mode, and then I went to work. I got in trouble at work over some stupid shit. I'm not gonna lie, my mental health just went pew. It just went downhill from there. It really did. Because there's only so much a girl can handle. Let's be for real. I'm thinking about the fact that I called out of work, I missed out on money, and I lost a friend. Not one friend, but two friends. And then I come to work and you talking to me about some stupid shit, and I was just sitting at work with all these emotions inside of me. There was nothing I could do about it because I'm a grown-ass woman. I had to go to work the next couple of days. I didn't have no energy. All I wanted to do was sleep. The kind of person that I am, people expect me to just be over shit. And every time I would try to talk to people about how I was feeling, they were like, you still tripping off that? I'm like, yes, I'm still tripping off that shit. Yes, I am. Because I lost a friend and she was a good friend to me. My feelings are hurt because it's like, you don't even want to have a conversation with me. I'm instantly blocked, but your boyfriend could beat you up and you're getting a P.O. box so he could send you letters, and you're picking up the phone even when you're at Knott's, even when you with your friends, you still picking up the phone for him. Why does he get a second chance but I don't? I really did not understand that, and my feelings was so hurt on multiple levels, because I'm like, I have not healed at all. I just isolate myself from people. I don't talk to people. I don't engage with people. I realize that when people do things that make me uncomfortable, I just bottle it up until I can't control it anymore, and now I look fucking crazy. Instead of actually addressing the situation when it arises or when it comes up, I ignore it and I let shit slide. And then when I do address it, it's so aggressive, nobody cares what I'm talking about. And at this point, I'm old enough to admit that I understand where people are coming from. Like, I understand if people don't want to deal with somebody that's going to flip out and scream and holler at them. After that situation, I felt so lonely. I felt like all I do is push people away. I started reminiscing over relationships that I know for a fact didn't even serve me. I started thinking about people that actually did hurt me, that do not deserve to be in my life anymore. And I started to say, oh, it's my fault that they don't talk to me because I'm so mean and I'm so hateful. And as the days went on and I started to see things more clearly, I was like, what was I going through? Like, I stopped talking to that person because they did X, Y, and Z. And if they never even did that in the first place, we would still be cool. Like, I had to stand up for myself. With this particular situation, I need you guys to understand, I enjoyed Stacy as a friend. She inspired me to get out of the house more and get out of my comfort zone and to become more disciplined and show up for myself, you know? She definitely inspired me to get my shit together. In my opinion, up until we went to Not Scary Farm, I felt like we had a very healthy bond, a very good friendship. It sucks to lose that. It sucks, but it's life. I feel like what really hurts me the most is that I didn't even get the opportunity to express myself when I was sober. Don't get me wrong, I did download Text Now or Text Free, and I did reach out to her through like a fake number. She never even responded, so she definitely does not want to be my friend anymore. That really hurt my feelings. That really hurt my feelings because it just made me feel like I'm not a likable person. On top of the fact that leading up to this, I was getting really weird comments, like people were calling me a narcissist, and I'm human, you know? I was bothered by those comments. And so to fall out with my friend after reading shit like that about myself online, it just made me wonder if that was true. And I really had to lock in with God, bro. Like, I really had to work on my identity in Christ because the devil is a liar. Everybody fucks up. Everybody makes mistakes. That's why we're here on this planet. We are here on planet Earth to make mistakes and hopefully learn and grow from those mistakes. And one thing that I definitely learned from this experience is that I need to put myself out there more because that's gonna force me to work on my communication skills. I have to work on getting my point across without cussing people out. Because once you start screaming and hollering, nobody cares what you have to say. And I'm starting to really understand that. Obviously, this is something that I have to work on. And so I'm grateful for this experience because I learned that about myself. You can't just cuss people out and expect them to still be cool with you. That whole situation just really made me reevaluate my whole life. Stacy and I were definitely different. If you looked at us, it wouldn't even seem like we would be friends because we were just so different. But at the same time, we definitely had things in common. That's why I brought up earlier that maybe I just might be a clingy bitch, because in real life, I got into this situation because I was like, okay, we're friends now. I'm hanging out with this girl. She keeps inviting me places. This is my friend. It takes more than 2 or 3 months to really build a friendship. And that's what my sister was trying to explain to me, but it clearly went over my head. As the days went on, it got to a point where I was in a full-blown depression. Like, I started to think about my relationship with my family. Like I said, I was thinking about the comments. I was like, oh my God, the comments, they were telling the truth. I really needed to get myself together. I really needed to get myself together because I was spiraling out of control. And as I sit here right now, I feel like I could talk to you guys and I could make sense. And I feel like I'm also able to take accountability where I need to, because I'm not in my feelings about the situation like how I was the past couple weeks. This was definitely a learning experience for me. Moving forward, I will continue to put myself out there. And moving forward, I'll try to be more discerning with what I consider to be a friend. I will try to seek out friendships with people that I consider are more on my level. And I'm not saying that from a place of like, feeling like I'm better than anybody, because I definitely don't. I told you guys that I really did value Stacy and Daryl as friends, but at the end of the day, I respect their decision not to talk to me anymore, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like, if I hurt their feelings that bad, I have to take accountability for that, because there are people that have hurt my feelings and I'm like, you know what, I'm cool off you. I have no choice but to respect it at the end of the day. Like I said, even though Stacy and I did have things in common, we were two totally different girls, you know. I feel like that's why I ended up crashing out the way that I did at the theme park, because I just need to be around more like-minded people, more people that are down to have a good time, turn up, make memories, take pictures, be bad bitches, all of that. I want to be around well-rounded people, and I feel like I keep developing friendships with people that only represent one aspect of myself. And I feel like my friendship with Stacy represented an aspect of myself that was depressed and was experiencing low self-worth and low self-esteem. I told you guys, when I started hanging out with her consistently, my living situation was very shaky. I didn't know where I was gonna live. I was very stressed out about that. I was going through it. And so we kind of like trauma bonded with each other, because she was going through it with her boyfriend. So we were both going through it. And that's how our friendship ended up developing into what it was. Now that I'm sitting here talking to you guys about the situation, I will say I don't really miss her as much as I did. And I feel like the only reason that I really missed her so much is because I was just feeling bad for myself. I was putting 100% of the blame on myself, because I feel like, you know, if you keep falling out with people, Brianna, to a certain extent, you must be the problem. Like, if people keep cutting you off, they don't give you no closure, they never want to talk to you again, obviously you're the problem. And so I was just really feeling bad for myself. To a certain extent, I did start to romanticize the friendship, which ultimately made me feel worse about the situation. Real shit, how I feel right now, I'm back to myself. I'm back enjoying my own company. Like, I'm alone, but I'm not lonely. These past couple of days, I've definitely been feeling very depressed, very lonely. I let my house get out of control. I wasn't doing my chores. I wasn't cleaning up after myself. I started being really late to work. I would just sleep all day. I had to be real with myself. I'm like, bitch, you're depressed. Like, this situation is really bothering you. I didn't want to talk about it on camera. I didn't want to talk about it on camera because I just felt like I was not in a space mentally to handle the comments. Like, the comments really would have sent me over the fucking edge, girl. I had to give myself time to get it together, and now I'm back and I'm better. With that being said, if you guys like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Support your girl. Get those fingers moving in the comments below and let me know if you can relate to this situation or how you feel about how I've navigated through this experience, because at the end of the day, what happened, happened. And there's nothing that I can do to change the fact that I was in public screaming and hollering at somebody that I consider to be my friend. And she had never seen me like that before. If that's not the kind of energy that she wants in her life, I gotta respect it. You know, she sent me my money back for going to Knott's. And I don't know why I waited to the end of the video to tell you guys that, but she actually gave me my money back for Knott's. And I thought that that was weird, because I'm like, bitch, I'm mad, but I'm not that mad. But ultimately, Stacy made the decision that she was good. She does not want to be my friend anymore, even though it hurt my feelings. And it took me out of commission for more than a week. I gotta be a big girl and respect it. And you know what that is, bitch? Growth. I don't care what none of y'all say. That's growth. With that being said, I love you guys so much. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for being patient with me as I navigate my life, because sometimes, girl, I don't know what's going on. But I'm so grateful that I created a family here on YouTube where I could talk about these things. And now that we got that out the way, we could get back to regular scheduled programming. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video. Till next time.